Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode number 180 of the Debt Free Dad podcast. So get ready to uncover a captivating phenomenon that's taking Generation Z and others by storm, and it's called cash stuffing. So in a world dominated by credit cards, debit cards, and various cashless payment options like PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App, the power of physical cash and its remarkable accountability often go unnoticed. But guess what? Cash is making a grand comeback, especially with the younger generation. In today's episode, we're going to be revealing the reasons why it has become popular once again. Join us as we unravel the hidden potential of cash and its unique ability to help you save more money and stay true to your financial goals. Stay tuned.
You're listening to the Debt Free Dad podcast with Brad Nelson. Brad and his co-hosts experience the anxiety of living paycheck to paycheck before learning the fundamentals of financial security. They are now on a mission to empower regular people to pay off their debt for good and enjoy happier, less stressful lives. Keep listening for inspirational interviews, tips, tricks, and practical advice to gain financial freedom.
Hey, how's everyone doing today? You can find us on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. Just search Brad Nelson, Debt Free Dad. And as always, welcome to today's show. And remember to get all the resources, show notes, and links for today's show. You can head over to balancense.com/180. That's BALANCEDCENTS.com/180. So guys, cash stuffing today. And I think this is a funny topic because it wasn't too long ago where someone had sent me some message. Actually, it's probably a year or two ago. And some Roots members had sent me a message that said, Brady, have you ever heard of like cash stuffing? And I'm like, cash stuffing? Like, I don't know, no idea what this is. So as I started to look at it, I very quickly learned it is just the simple cash envelope system that has been around for years and years and years and years and years and years. But it is like gained such huge popularity with the younger generation. Now, have you guys obviously caught wind of all this cash stuffing and people talking about this, especially like on TikTok or anything?
I see it on TikTok all the time.
All the time. And what are people saying about it, Amber, on TikTok?
They're just sharing their system, and they have like these little envelopes and like little folder, and they're like, this is what I do. Here's my paycheck. And they have their money in a pile. And then they're like, let me just put it in each little envelope. And they're literally, this is my groceries. This is my whatever. I love that, Ryan.
Right. No. Right. You gotta hold your binder bag up again. Hold it up. Look at Ryan's. There it is.
Yep.
His cash stuffing system. There it is.
Yep. I don't see any cash stuffed in there.
Where's your cash?
Hey, it's in the envelopes.
But that's what it is. They put so much in groceries, so much in, eating out, whatever.
And what are they saying though? Like in your, like when they're on TikTok, and I haven't seen any lately. But are they sharing like why it's been so beneficial to them at all? And I'm just asking.
I don't think so.
Cuff.
Not really. It's, okay. I mean, mainly like it just helps them stay organized with their money and stay on budget.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. Yeah.
But I mean, it's being treated like it's this like new, like I said in the introduction, it's like this phenomenon. Like it's brand new and it's been around for a long time. Like,
well, doesn't everything come back eventually?
It does. I mean, even like 80s clothes are coming back.
Yeah. Bell bottoms.
Yeah.
I do remember, like, my mom watched an episode of Oprah before Oprah was Oprah, like back when it was like Jerry Springer style.
You mean before Oprah was like, you get a car and you get a car?
Well, before that. So before that, Oprah had jars and you would separate your money into jars. So like I had to do some for cash, some for college, some for savings, some for fun money, some for church. So I had all these little jars and I was terrible at the system. My sister was really good at it and it still shows today. But I was like 10 and she was like 6. So, yeah.
By the way, last episode, that was totally an anchor right there, Katie. You just anchored. It's always going to be that way. Look at you, $116,000 paid off. Making a comeback.
Thank you, Oprah.
So I just want to read through this quick article that I read on USA Today about Titled Dollar Bills, y'all. Gen Z is using cash more than ever in the face of inflation. This was written by Medora Lee, and looks like it was written back in mid-May of 2023. It says who's Gen Z? We got one of them. Gen Z has rediscovered cash as a budgeting tool, embracing it more than all other generations amid 2 years of soaring inflation that has ravaged household finances, according to a recent survey. It says nearly 70% of Gen Zers use cash more than they did 12 months ago, according to a Credit Karma online survey of 2,118 adults, which included 331 Gen Z adults ages 18 to 26. That share was higher than any other group, including Gen X, which was 47%, and Boomers at 37%. Credit Karma classifies Gen X as born between 1965 and 1980, which means that I'm not a millennial, and Boomers between 1946 and 1964. And by the way, I'm still going to play the card that I could be either one, because that's
I'm a
what
millennial.
That's what Credit Karma says, and I think other places say it's 79s included. So I don't care. Budgeting is among the top reasons people, especially Gen Zers with limited incomes, turn to cash as they try to manage high inflation, stock market volatility, and rising interest rates that make it more expensive to use credit cards. It says for folks having trouble keeping up, they're looking to reverse the trend by not accruing additional debt, as said Courtney Lev from Credit Karma's Consumer Financial Advocate. That's where budgeting tricks like cash stuffing can come in. So it looks like, this article just goes on to say, what is cash stuffing? Is cash stuffing new? It says right here, as much as young people like to think they're cutting edge and poke fun at boomers, they're not. It says the reason I use cash is simpler to budget, said Eric, 61, president of Jim Electric in Chicago. I'm old school using cash for most purchases. Cash allows me to feel in control of my daily expenses. And it says, my family have also been victims of stolen credit cards, counterfeit checks, and stolen identities, so we're trying to keep our digital footprint at a minimum. Who does use PayPal for certain purchases, but he also adds, I do not have a debit card and rarely use an ATM. I'm still not ready to embrace the technology of digital payments. So, so there you guys have it. And I think what we want to talk about today is, why are people seeing such an advantage with cash? And, the big reason kind of comes in is that cash is an awesome accountability tool. And I want to just share a real quick study, guys, and then I want to get your kind of feedback on just this article and then what I'm about to share here now. And this is actually from Roots. This is actually an excerpt from Roots, our online personal finance membership. And it says, science has provided several studies that raise some eyebrows on use of credit cards. George Lowenstein, a Carnegie Mellon professor of social and decision science services and the co-author of paper found in the Journal of Neuron, states, credit cards effectively anesthetize the pain of pain. You swipe the card and it doesn't feel like you're actually giving anything up to make a purchase, unlike paying cash where you have to hand over real bills. It says there are two words in that quote I really want you to focus on. The first one is anesthetize, which means to administer an anesthetic. Like when you have surgery or when you go to the dentist, they numb the pain so you don't feel it. The other word I bolded, or I want you to think about, is pain. In Lowenstein's study, which was to see if pain centers around the brain would activate when a person would see prices, here is what he said. He said, we were so excited when we got the results from the first scans and saw that insula, a section of the brain associated with pain processing, activated when subjects saw prices that were too high. And what's this mean? It means that, and it appears in this study to show that our brain registers pain with prices, and the higher the pain, the less spending we might do because of the increased insula. But as Lowenstein stated, credit cards anesthetize, aka numb the pain of pain. And this was proven with an MRI machine. And so it makes you think twice about, okay, is cash or credit better? And in this study, I think cash wins all day. And Chris, I'd be interested too with what you got going on there at your store and in the ice cream shop about, people paying cash or credit. But anyways, what do you guys think about some of these initial ideas? And obviously being where you are, using cash, knowing the power of cash.
Here's all I got to say. If you're struggling financially, you're trying to figure out how to be on a budget, use envelopes. Use them. They are the best kept secret to managing your money, staying on a budget, paying attention to where your money's going. There's so many things that, I guess, what's it called? Cash stuffing is the term nowadays?
Cash stuffing. Yep.
Does for you. And I'm going to have to go get some of my younger employees to show me these TikTok videos since I don't do TikTok.
Chris, we got to get you on TikTok with your ice cream shop, ma'am.
And bubbles. Lots of bubbles.
Oh, by the way, I did see a bubble machine yesterday. I forget where I was. It was some mom and pop shop around here. And I guess they had their kid in there and there was this little thing blowing bubbles and I had to giggle. I'm not sure. It wasn't a gun. It was just a thing that was plugged into the wall and the kid was playing with it. But it made me think of all of you.
You're never going to think about, you're ever going to look at bubbles without thinking about us now.
Nope.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in envelopes. I mean, obviously I was teasing, but that really is our envelope system. I mean, we've been using it for years. For us, to this day, especially recently with the job change that I've had and us kind of having to kind of readjust our budget and kind of really make things. I mean, for us, the envelope system has been cash stuffing, call it whatever you want. It just makes it, I don't want to say it's easy, but for example, this past weekend, my wife needed a new pair of shoes. She went to the envelope that has clothing. You take the money out of there and you go buy your shoes, and you don't have to worry about because even to this day, I mean, we know we could just put all that money in the bank, and it's like, you just have all that money in the bank. I know, but if you don't use it for a few months, it starts to become all this money in the bank. And it's like, I kind of want this. And you're not thinking, you just forget that you need shoes and you need your daily stuff. So for us, to this day, it really, really helps us stay focused and keep on track with our budget. And it's really for all the non-essential things. We don't use envelopes for our mortgage and things like that. It's for clothing and for our dog. Our dog had to go to the vet. That was $500. She gets her haircut every few weeks. So we just put money in there. So when those things happen, we just take cash out and pay it because, like you said, and for that pain side of it, when you have money in there to buy clothes, for example, you're going to try to stretch that money. For us, we don't, if we were using a card, I'd go buy an expensive pair of shoes and not think twice about it. But it's like, ooh, let's try to not spend as much because we're going to actually pay cash for it.
Yeah. Well, and that goes back to that study that we just shared. And that's the reason why is because, again, for most, cash is a really good accountability tool because there's an end to it. Once the cash is gone, there's no more spending. Whereas if you're using even a debit card, it's easy to just, oh, it's okay, I'll just get it, And how many times do you do that and then add up those? Oh, it's only a few extra dollars. How much is only a few extra dollars cost you over time? A lot of money, right? So I think that's what these younger kids and what these people are discovering cash stuffing is helping them. It's not really magic. It's actually science that's been proving this, that you're going to spend less when you use cash versus, say, credit cards or these cardless payment options.
I've never used the envelope system.
See, and that is interesting. So you
Never.
So you guys don't. So you don't cash for anything, or do you just use your debit card?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and when I have cash, it's like my brain tells me it's just there and it's extra. Like I just spend it like it's nothing. It doesn't bother me to spend the cash.
That's
I don't know. Maybe if I put it in envelopes and had a purpose for it, it might. But I've never used the envelope or cash stuffing system.
Yeah, I don't use it anymore. I strictly use my debit card for everything. But I have to go back and consciously check, what I spent and groceries and all of that stuff to make sure I'm on target. But when I was getting out of debt, I used it all the time because it was a great accountability tool. Now I don't have in my budget, I don't have spending money. I don't have. And Ryan, you do, I think, right? You guys have spending money, right?
Yep. Well, we call it blow.
Yeah, blow money. Yeah, I don't like drugs. No, I'm just kidding.
Use it for whatever you want.
You guys smoking drugs? You guys smoking drugs over there?
We thought he was just smoking, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't have spending money. I just don't have random money. I typically will have a category for whatever it is, because I just don't I'm not one to stop at the convenience store and pick up a soda. Or I just don't do that kind of stuff. And again, there's nothing wrong with that if you do it. It's just something I don't do, and I've never really felt a need to have spending money. But when it comes down to having and setting up success for cash stuffing. Number one, I think budgeting is key. And when you're looking at the whole idea of cash stuffing and the envelope system, I think you're using the fundamentals of budgeting. You're saying, I'm going to set a certain amount of money aside for this specific category, and I'm going to put that money in there. That's essentially what a budget is at the end of the day. It's just you calculating out what your income is going to be, what your expenses are going to be, and how much you're going to allocate to each of those categories. All right. So I think having a monthly budget is going to be step number one. And then tracking is going to be really important to make sure you're successful with the envelope system or cash stuffing. So what a lot of people tend to get hung up on is, well, Brad, what if, and by the way, if you're wondering, even when we have our debt freedom planner, and I actually have some right here, these are ours. Do we lose? We lost Ryan briefly. He'll be back. But if you are looking for cash stuffing systems, this is actually our cash stuffing envelopes that come in our totally awesome debt freedom planner and the Get It All bundle. And this is essentially what these are for. This is cash stuffing. And you can see, if you look up close and you're on YouTube, you can see that there's like a register on there. You put in the date, what it was, and how much is remaining in the actual envelope. All right. So when you pick your categories, and pretty common categories, and Ryan, I'd be interested since you're doing this pretty regularly, but one of the common categories, or I guess the most common categories that I see, are things like groceries, going out to eat, your clothing items, your entertainment, and then like spending money. You mentioned like vet visits and things. What other stuff are you guys doing?
Yep. So my wife has, so we have like, she gets her hair and her nails done occasionally. So she puts money in there for that. Christmas, birthdays, clothing, home furnishings, and repairs. So, we have an emergency fund for like the major things, but it's like, hey, we're needing a new rug, or, we want to freshen something up. We like to just set some money aside. So like, if we ever want to do that, we just have money that we can pull the cash out to do that. And then we have like dining out, our money that we go out to eat, and then our blow money.
So when you get paid, essentially the rules is when you get paid, you're going to take that budgeted amount that goes in that envelope, and you're going to put that amount in there. So for instance, let's pick on groceries. So let's say for your family, you budget $800 a month for groceries. All right. And so you get paid, let's say you get paid bi-weekly, you get paid twice a month. So the first payday, you would take $400 out of that payday, and you would put $400 into the envelope. And then for the next 2 weeks, you would only shop for groceries outside of that envelope. All right. And then you're going to keep track of what you're spending on the outside of your envelope, so you know how much money is in there. If the money runs out, you are done spending. All right. Or if it's an emergency, you could look at adjusting some other envelopes and fund your envelopes other ways. But the goal is not to do that. If you want to be successful, it's like, say, for instance, your goal is to build your first emergency fund, or your goal is to pay off, using the debt snowball method, which we talk about here. The idea behind the envelope system is once the cash is gone, you are done spending. And that's where the hard part comes in. That's where you have to draw the line and say, okay, if you're going to use cash as accountability tool, we can't cheat. All right. And this is kind of where, those people are really serious, find out if they're serious or not. And, but the idea is once you're done, and this allows you to reach those goals, because once you're done spending, you're not using other money, or you're not dipping into your checking account or anything like that. All right. This is why also tracking is so important when it comes to first starting the system, because you might find that you budgeted $800 this month, and you might find that, well, we actually need to budget more like $900 because we were short. Right. Or you might find out that you don't need to budget as much, and you can use that money other places because you're being smarter with your purchases. All right. So again, you split it up based on how many paydays you have. This is why it's good to track. This is why it's good to have a budgeting system. It's why it's good to also have a calendar system of when those paydays come in, what bills are coming out, so you know how much money you can put in each of those envelopes as you're getting paid.
And if you're worried about running out of money, the nice thing about the cash envelopes is it's visual. You can see how much is left in the envelope. Therefore, you know how much is left in your budget for that category. It's tangible. You can touch it. With a debit card, you can't touch the money, right? So by being able to visually see how much is left, and then being able to touch it and know that this is cash, this is money, it helps you to make better choices, to therefore help you make it until the next payday. And so that visual component and that tangible being able to touch it component, I think personally, are what helps you end up, so to speak, with money in the envelopes at the end of the pay period or at the end of the month that you can then roll over to your debt snowball like you talked about. So if you're worried about it, yeah, sometimes it takes a little bit of time to figure out how much is in there, but eventually you're going to probably find that you've got money left over in there. Why? Because it sort of becomes a game and you make better decisions.
Yeah. For most people, unless you're Amber and she's a pirate.
Well, I don't dispute the system. I just have my own.
To her defense, there are people though that tend to buck that whole trend. The article that you talked about, where if they've got cash in their hands, they're going to spend it.
Oh, it's
You
gone.
got it.
And if that's you, then this probably won't work for you. But for 95% of the people, give this a try. I think you'll find it really, really works well for you.
Because I used to be the person that if I had cash, it was burning a hole in my pocket. I literally found $20 on the ground at Chuck E. Cheese, and I did not tell my mom. And when we went shopping not too long after, and I pull out a $20 bill. She's like, "Where did you get that?" And I'm like, "Found it." But it was my money, and I had to spend it immediately. But I am different now when I do have cash. Like when I go to the grocery store now, it's a game of how many groceries that I need can I get for this $20. Not when Dr. Pepper is on sale, obviously, but it's like I think I've gotten down to having 10 cents and I'm like, yes, all right, I didn't go over and I still had 10 cents left. But yeah, for the people that pay debit card roulette, like swipe it and see if it actually is going to work or not. If I actually have money in the account, this would probably be good for them to get started. And then if you have money or not to pay.
Yeah, I would highly recommend you at least try it. I mean, you don't have anything to lose, and you're right. I mean, for like you said, Amber, it's not something that worked for you. You haven't done it. But there are people. We've had Roots members who have tried it, and they are like what you said, Chris. I mean, they have money in their pocket, and it burns a hole, and so it doesn't work for everybody, but for a lot of people it does. So I'd highly recommend. And this also turns into long-term savings as well. So, you can use the same ideas that we're using for cash stuffing and turn them into, say, sinking funds. And sinking funds is essentially the same thing as cash stuffing. It's just for bigger and more long-term savings goals. So, for instance, when we talk about the value of cash, it's not only just the savings up front per transaction that's been proven, but it's also when you pay in full for certain things. Like, for instance, if you have insurance premiums, let's say, and this isn't for every insurance company, but for some insurance companies, at least the one that I use, if I pay in full every year, they give me a discount for paying in full for the entire year. So I get a discount off my premium. And sometimes it's up to like 12 to 14% off the entire premium if I pay in full, which is huge, right? You look at things like, sports for your kids, or for instance, we have a seasonal campsite that we pay for every year. We get a discount when we pay in full for the year. So essentially, you can look at these bigger savings goals. Ryan, you mentioned home maintenance and repairs, right? If you want to say cash stuffing for longer terms, this is sinking funds. You can create little savings goals, and every month in your budget, you set a certain amount of money in that savings, and then when that time comes to use it, it's already there. There's no stress. And in a lot of cases, you are going to save. I know when my son was in Taekwondo, we would pay yearly for that, and we would save we would get a discount because we paid in full for the entire year rather than paying every 6 months or every quarter or even every month. And you'll notice when you start looking at some of those price points for some of these places that you sign up with, the monthly is the most expensive, and then the quarterly is just a little bit less. 6 months is a little bit less, and then the year is the best, right? But a lot of people aren't able to do that because they're not properly budgeting and putting that money away. So not only are you going to save money on the per transactions when you're using cash for most people, but you're also going to save a considerable amount by paying in full because you'll likely get a discount for a lot of things.
Yeah, I do that for my car registration every year because I know it's coming, but then I have little bits every month that I save away for it. And my chiropractor, because she offers like a set price for so many visits, and I just put that aside in my HSA and pay out of it for her.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you guys are looking to get started, we offer the cash stuffing system right inside the Debt Freedom Planner and the Get It All bundle. You can go to our website. We're going to be playing that commercial here real soon. There's going to be a QR code on the screen. Otherwise, you just go to balancesense.com/planner and you get started with it right away. Also, if you don't want to buy it, you don't have to do that either. You can just get out some silly little envelopes that are colored or whatever, like Ryan's homemade little binder. You can make your own little system and have some fun with it, and you still get the benefits of it. So the Totally Awesome Debt Freedom Planner is helping so many people make consistent progress with their finances. Whether that be building emergency funds, paying down bills, budgeting, tracking paydays, saving up for larger purchases, goal planning, and planning for those irregular yearly expenses that always seem to catch you by surprise. Now, the Debt Freedom Planner will help you take the stress out of managing your money. And if the thought is running through your mind, hey, I just need to have a simple tool to get my finances together, this planner is perfect for you. Head over to therealdebtfreedad.com, click on the Debt Freedom Planner in the menu at the top of the page, and order your Debt Freedom Planner today.
Let's talk about that, baby. Let's talk about your money. Let's talk about all the good things, all the bad things that may be. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about
What
Chris,
are we laughing at?
Chris, I see that head bobbing, man. We're going to get those dances going
I'm
soon.
going to win that contest.
Well, that sound and the head bobbing means it's time for the celebrations of the show. And first we have Kelly Tyson. Took my hubs to the Mongolian Express to eat after his eye appointment. Also bought him a new pair of sneakers with cash.
Yeah, awesome, Kelly. Congratulations. Brenda Philhauer bought a couple of organizers for the crafts I have. Helps me to know what I have, what I need to complete. Paid cash for both the organizers and the crafts. Congratulations to you, Brenda.
So we heard that Kelly went to the Mongolian Express with her husband after his eye appointment, but Hillary Morse, the sneaky Hillary, she waited till her daughter went out of town, and then she went by herself to buy Chinese and was able to pay off a lot of debt this week, even though she went and ate Chinese.
Yeah, that was awesome, Hillary. Congratulations.
You make it sound like Hillary did a bad thing, but she states her daughter doesn't like it.
Oh, that's correct.
You sneaky Hillary.
We got to make it entertaining, right?
That's right.
And Mary Southard went on vacation. That's definitely a celebration. I just booked my trip to Florida, paying cash. So I'm
Awesome.
right there with you.
Awesome win.
And Terry Manley Campataro bought some much needed new clothes, and I paid cash.
Yeah, incredible. So there you go. All cash purchases. A lot of people using cash, using the envelope system. So great job. Congratulations to you guys. And congratulations to all of you who are working so hard at reaching financial freedom. And if you're just getting started with our podcast, or maybe you've been listening for some time and you're interested in how you can get started on the road to financial freedom, you can visit our website at balancesense.com and sign up for my free Life Without Payments workshop, where I'm going to show you the first steps that have helped tens of thousands of people just like you and I kick financial stress and worry for good.
Thanks for listening to the Debt Free Dad podcast. Connect with us on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram at Brad Nelson Debt Free Dad. If you found value in today's episode, please leave a rating and review. We so appreciate it. For resources, show notes, and links mentioned in today's show, visit balancedsense.com. That's balancedsense.com. Catch you next week.